80% of African Americans vote Democrat. What can Republicans, or you think from your experience, do to break that? Because right now they may feel like they don't have representation for Republican leadership. What issues do you think we can do as Republicans to make that difference?
Well, some of the best effort I think that's being done to help bring in African American voters into my party is being done by people who are African American, who've been elected to Congress, elected to other positions across the country. The heart of our party is saying, how do we get our economy going so strong that we can get more people out of poverty and middle-income people with higher incomes? That's what it's all about. I wasn't as successful as I'd like to be in communicating that message, but it's something we have to be able to do and push back against the Democrats who always try to misrepresent what we in our party stand for. The only reason we run for office is to help people get out of poverty, to help middle-income families do better, keep people safe and well. That's what it's all about.
Here we have what we'll call black hand, white hand. Little tapping out the sun.
I got rid of the Democrat Party and kept the Conservative Party. Main reason is there weren't a whole lot of people like me left in the Democratic Party. The number of conservative Democrats still exists in terms of voters. You find conservative Democrats walking around Georgia, but they're not in office. The number of elected conservative Democrats is almost non-existent right now. They've kind of all been defeated or run out of the party. I happen to believe, though I know this would shock some people who may listen to this interview, I happen to believe that there's more of a debate going on in the Republican Party than in the Democratic Party on almost every issue under the sun. If you're a Democrat, you're expected to think a certain way on every single question, and if you don't, you're thought to not be a true Democrat.
It's easy for the other side to demonize you, and if you let them define you, then so be it. You allowed that to happen. I never allowed that to define me. And I tell you what's interesting. I've heard other blacks say that, oh yeah, you're called an Uncle Tom. And I was telling my friend Sheila, who's here tonight, that if people call me an Uncle Tom, they don't do it to my face. Because when you are a strong believer in your principles and your philosophy, I think people don't want to mess with you. They may say it behind your back, but I believe it the way black Democrats believe in big, intrusive government and the passion they have for what I call a failed agenda. I am just as passionate about less regulations, lower taxes, as they are about what I call a failed agenda on the left.
I was a Democrat most of my life. I switched parties in 2010 to become a Republican. Did not change any of my values, but I did begin to understand that my beliefs were antithetical to the liberal cause. And so I chose to be a Republican because it was more in line with what I thought was good for this country, which is free enterprise, market-based solutions. And I'm a United Methodist, and I just have personal faith in issues that I believe in. And I think that the Democratic Party had become too hostile to my faith.
There's nothing that can kick a political movement in the rear end like a major political loss that was unexpected. And that's what happened with Romney's loss to President Obama in 2012. That really was a kick in the rear end, a wake-up call, so to speak, for the conservative movement. If we don't get businesses involved, if we don't get minorities involved, if we don't get young people involved, we're going to start losing ground at an even faster rate than before. So, strange as it might seem, maybe what happened in the general election of 2012 in the long term may work out good for the conservative movement.
The problem with the conservative ideology is that they're speaking to like people. To be able to bring people like the gentleman we met the other day, Tyrell, a young free thinker. He was raised in the mechanism. There's nobody closer to the Democratic mechanics, machinery than him. But now he's went and got an education. He's understands business, and he's thinking I think that really, and I had a long discussion with him.
Being a young African American male, growing up in the era of hip hop, growing up in the era of AIDS and crime, things that we've seen since my first president of my memory was Ronald Reagan. So I saw him in 1980. I was born in '77. So I've seen a lot of things that seem to place young African American men in a negative light. And I fought my entire life to be educated. I enjoyed my talent when I was rapped and did a lot of hip hop, toured with most of all the hip hop stars you can think of.
Republicans just have more confidence in people. Being a black conservative, I have more confidence in what I believe the black community is capable of.